The first light of dawn stretched across the Kansas prairie, painting the wide fields in gold and pink. Liam Harper, a rugged rancher in his early 40s, rode slowly along the dusty trail, the wind tugging at his hat. It was the kind of morning that made the world feel quiet, almost too quiet. Birds chirped somewhere in the distance, but there was a tension in the air Liam couldn't explain. He had spent his life in these lands, yet something about today felt different. As he guided his horse over a rise, Liam spotted a dark shape lying among the tall grass. At first, he thought it might be a deer, or maybe a tumbleweed caught in the morning wind. But as he rode closer, his chest tightened. The shape moved slightly. It was a woman, a young woman, sprawled on the ground with her hands curled against the earth. Her dress was torn, her hair tangled and streaked with dirt, and her bare feet were scraped and bruised. Liam's horse snorted, nervous, and Liam dismounted quickly. Dust rose around him as he knelt beside her. She stirred, her lips moving faintly as though trying to form words. Liam leaned closer, heart pounding. The first words he heard made him freeze. "You mustn't," she whispered. He looked at her carefully. She wasn't afraid of him, not exactly. There was something else in her eyes. Fear, yes, but also a weight, a story buried deep inside. Her blue eyes flicked around the prairie, wide and searching, as if expecting someone to appear out of the horizon at any second. Liam's experience with danger was long, droughts, stampedes, even a few gunfights, but he had never seen a woman so small and fragile, yet carrying such heavy fear, lying in the middle of the open plains. Gently, he reached out and touched her arm. Her skin burned with heat, and she flinched, pulling slightly away. "It's okay," Liam said softly. "I'm not going to hurt you. Just hold on, all right?" She nodded slightly, but her eyes stayed alert, darting from one shadow to the next. He glanced around. No one else was in sight. The prairie stretched endlessly, only the occasional fence post or twisted tree breaking the horizon. Liam knew that if anyone found her here first, it wouldn't end well. Whoever she was running from, she had been running hard, maybe for days. Carefully, Liam lifted her into his arms. She was light, almost like she had been starving or worn out from walking. Her head rested against his chest, and Liam could hear her shallow, shaky breaths. She wasn't speaking now, but he could feel her trembling. He pulled off his bandana, dipped it in the water he carried, and pressed it lightly against her forehead. She flinched at first, then let out a tiny sigh, her body relaxing a fraction. Where am I?" she whispered finally, her voice barely audible. "You're safe," Liam said, steadying himself. "I'm taking you to my cabin. You can rest there." The young woman looked down at the tall grass and then back at him, hesitant. "Liam, you must promise," her voice broke off. Liam raised an eyebrow. "Promise what?" "You must say you never saw me," she whispered, almost to herself. "If they know where I am?" "Oh, I can't," her voice cracked, and she buried her face in his chest. Liam felt a deep, protective anger rise within him. Someone had forced this woman to run, to hide, and he was not going to let it happen on his watch. He mounted his horse slowly, one arm steady around her, keeping her secure. The wind whipped past them, hot and dry, and the prairie seemed to stretch forever in front of them. Every step felt heavy, filled with the unknown. Who would chase a woman to the middle of nowhere, and why? As they approached the small creek near his cabin, Liam noticed the young woman staring at the horizon, eyes wide with fear and anticipation. "You can rest soon," he said. "Just a little farther." She nodded, gripping his shirt tightly. Her fingers left tiny marks, and Liam realized she was holding on to more than just his shirt. She was holding on to hope, for the first time in what must have been a long while. By the time they reached the cabin, the sun was fully above the horizon, heating the wooden walls and the small clearing around it. Liam gently laid her on his bed, dipping another cloth in water to cool her burning forehead. She closed her eyes, and a faint sigh escaped her lips, relief, exhaustion, and fear all tangled together. Liam sat beside her, heart heavy with questions. Who was she running from? What was so forbidden that it forced her to leave everything behind? And most importantly, could he protect her from it? The prairie outside remained silent, holding its breath. Inside, the young woman whispered again, "You mustn't," and Liam realized, right then, that this was only the beginning. Something powerful, dangerous, and heartbreaking had brought her here, and it would shake their lives in ways neither of them could yet imagine. The small cabin smelled of wood smoke and old leather, the kind of scent that clung to a place untouched by strangers. Liam Harper set the young woman carefully on the bed, brushing a stray strand of hair from her sweat-streaked face. Her name, she had whispered once, Olivia Bennett, and it felt like carrying a fragile secret, one that could shatter at any wrong word. Olivia stayed quiet, her blue eyes fixed on the floorboards as though they held answers she didn't trust anyone to see. Liam sat beside her, hands resting on his knees, letting the silence stretch between them. He didn't rush her. He had learned that fear could not be pushed away, it had to be eased slowly. "You're safe here," he said softly. "No one can hurt you in this cabin." She glanced up at him, her lips trembling. They can't find me?" she whispered. "Not if I can help it," Liam replied, his voice steady, calm. "I don't ask many questions, but I need to know one thing. Why were you out there alone, running through the prairie?" Her eyes darted to the window, then back at him. Liam could see her fighting with herself, the weight of fear holding her tongue. Finally, in a voice barely audible, she said, "It's not God I ran from. It's the people in the church." Liam blinked. He had expected fear, maybe danger, but this was something different. Betrayal, hidden under the shadow of faith. "The church?" he asked carefully. "Yes," she whispered, hugging her knees to her chest. "I saw things I shouldn't have. Things they hide behind prayers and sermons. And when I spoke, they tried to make me disappear." A chill ran down Liam's spine. He had known greed and cruelty in men before, but using God's house to cover lies and injustice? That was a darkness he could not ignore. He leaned forward slightly. Who did this to you?" Olivia shook her head. "Can't not yet. If they knew I told anyone, they would come. They would find me, and anyone who helps me." Liam's jaw tightened. "Then we keep it quiet. You're safe here for now. I won't let them hurt you." She nodded slowly, a fragile trust beginning to form. Her hands clutched the blanket, her knuckles white. "I found letters, numbers, ledgers. They made no sense at first. Then I realized they were hiding money meant for the mission. For the children. For the sick. But it never reached them. It went somewhere else." Her voice cracked, tears welling in her eyes. Liam's heart tightened. "Who?" She shook her head again. "Can't not yet. But they watch everywhere. Sheriff Collins. Father Whitlock. They are not who people think they are." I escaped before it was too late. The room seemed smaller, the walls closing in as Liam absorbed her words. The sun outside climbed higher, heating the cabin, but inside, a cold fear settled. Whoever these people were, they were powerful, and Olivia had already run too far to turn back. Liam leaned back in his chair, rubbing his jaw. "Then we need a plan," he said finally. "You can't stay here forever. They'll come looking." She nodded, trembling. "I know. But I don't have anyone to trust. No one." Her eyes met his, full of fear and hope at the same time. "If you help me, you could be in danger too." Liam's voice was steady. "I've spent my life keeping my own business. But I don't ignore injustice. And I don't let anyone disappear while I can stop it. You won't face this alone." For the first time, Olivia let out a slow breath, the kind that comes when someone carries a burden too heavy for one body. She sat back, eyes scanning the cabin again, her mind racing with memories of being hunted, of whispers in dark hallways, of doors that should have been locked but weren't. "I didn't run because I wanted to," she said softly. "I ran because if I stayed, I would be gone. And no one would ever know why." Liam nodded, understanding. He had seen people hide in plain sight, secrets buried in the folds of small towns. But this was different. He had to protect her, even if it meant standing against men who wore the mask of respectability. Outside, the wind picked up, rattling the cabin walls. Liam glanced at the window. The prairie looked calm, golden in the sunlight, but he knew better. Danger could come riding over that horizon at any moment. He turned back to Olivia. We'll figure this out. First you rest, then we plan. Together. Olivia gave a small, grateful nod. Her shoulders relaxed a little, though her hands remained clenched on the blanket. For now, she was safe. But both of them knew it wouldn't last. The secret she carried was too dangerous, and someone would come looking. Liam's eyes narrowed. He had faced storms, fires, and men with guns, but the storm that was coming for Olivia was different. Quiet, patient, merciless. And he was ready to stand in its path. For the first time since she collapsed in the prairie, Olivia allowed herself to hope. But even as she rested, her mind whispered warnings she couldn't silence. They are watching, always watching, and nothing can hide the truth forever. The cabin remained quiet, but outside, the prairie waited. And the first step toward justice, and danger, was about to begin. The night fell over the Kansas prairie like a heavy blanket, stretching shadows across the Hollister cabin. Liam Harper sat near the small fire, polishing an old rifle he hadn't touched in months, but his mind wasn't on hunting. It was on Olivia Bennett, the young woman who had appeared from nowhere, carrying secrets that could shake the town to its core. Olivia sat on the edge of the bed, her knees pulled up, staring at the floor. Her fingers fiddled with the corner of a torn cloth. Liam watched her, noting every small movement, every hesitation. She had been quiet all day, but he could feel the tension coiled inside her, ready to snap. Olivia, Liam said softly, breaking the silence, I need to know everything. I can't protect you if I don't understand what we're facing. She hesitated, biting her lip. The firelight danced in her blue eyes, reflecting fear and exhaustion. It's bigger than you think, she whispered. Father Whitlock isn't just hiding money. He's using the mission as a cover for things no one should know about. Liam's hands paused on the rifle. What things? He asked carefully, his voice low. Her eyes darted to the window, as if someone could be listening outside. People disappear, she said, her voice trembling. Girls, young women, anyone who asks too many questions, they vanish. And he covers it all with sermons and prayers. Liam felt a cold knot form in his stomach. He had heard rumors of corruption, but never this deep, this dark. Disappearing people? That's serious. You're saying he kills them? Olivia shook her head. I don't know, not always. Sometimes they just vanish. Families think they ran away. I've seen the way men in suits take care of things. I can't explain. I shouldn't even be talking about this. Her voice broke, and a tear slid down her cheek. Liam leaned forward, resting a hand on her shoulder. You're safe here. No one is going to touch you while I'm around. But if what you say is true, we can't wait. We have to act before they realize you're gone. Her hands tightened on her knees. They'll come for me, she whispered. Sheriff Collins, he's already suspicious. He follows people, watches for details. And Father Whitlock, he has eyes everywhere. If he finds me here, I won't get another chance. Liam's jaw set. Then we need proof. If we show people what's happening, then even they can't stop the truth. She looked up at him, hope flickering in her eyes for the first time. Do you really think that's possible? I know it is, Liam said firmly. But we need a plan. And you need to trust me. The fire crackled, sending shadows dancing across the cabin walls. Outside, the prairie stretched dark and silent, but Liam knew better. Somewhere, not far from here, eyes were watching, waiting for the right moment to strike. Olivia swallowed hard, then whispered, I have letters, papers, records. I managed to hide them before I ran. They prove everything. But they're in the mission. In his office. Liam's eyes narrowed. Then that's where we start. Tomorrow we go in. Quiet. And we get the proof before anyone notices. She shivered, hugging herself. I don't know if I can face him. Not after everything. You're not alone, Liam said. I'll be right beside you. And I promise, no one is going to hurt you. The rest of the night passed slowly. Liam kept watch by the window while Olivia tried to sleep, though her mind raced with fear and memories of the people who had chased her. She had trusted no one, and yet here she was, relying on a man she barely knew. As the first light of dawn peeked over the horizon, Liam stirred. "We move at first light," he said. Olivia nodded silently, her hands trembling slightly. She dressed quickly, hiding the small bundle of papers she had brought from the prairie. Liam mounted his horse first, steady and calm, while she climbed behind him, gripping his waist tightly. The ride to Dodge City was quiet. The town was slowly waking, the sound of carts and distant voices carrying across the prairie. Every shadow made Olivia flinch. Every passerby made her heart race. Liam noticed, keeping a hand lightly on her back, a silent reassurance. They reached the mission house, its white walls gleaming in the morning sun. Olivia's heart pounded. Everything depended on the next few moments. If they were caught, if Collins or Whitlock saw her, she couldn't escape again. Liam dismounted first, offering her a hand. "Remember," he said softly, "we get in, get the papers, and get out. Quick, quiet. No mistakes." Olivia nodded, gripping his hand. Together, they approached the heavy doors of the mission, each step feeling like walking into a lion's den. As they reached the threshold, Liam froze. Across the street, a figure emerged from the shadows, tall, broad, with a dark coat that brushed the ground. Sheriff Collins. His eyes locked on them, a slow, calculating smile on his face. Olivia gasped. Liam tightened his grip on her hand. "Stay behind me," he whispered. Collins tipped his hat slowly. Well, what do we have here?" His voice was smooth, dangerous, and full of warning. "A little morning walk? Or maybe a visit to see what shouldn't be seen?" Liam's hand rested on his rifle. "We're leaving, Collins. Stay out of our way." The sheriff's smile widened. "I don't think that will be possible. Not today." Olivia's heart raced. The truth they needed was inside that mission. And now, the man who could ruin everything was standing right in their path. The prairie outside was silent, but inside, tension crackled like lightning. Every second stretched longer, heavier. One wrong move, and everything would collapse. Liam looked at Olivia, her eyes wide with fear, but also determination. "Ready?" he whispered. She nodded, gripping the papers hidden under her coat. And in that moment, with the sheriff blocking their path, Liam knew one thing for certain: the dangerous truth was waiting inside, and facing it would change everything or destroy them. The sun was climbing higher over Dodge City, casting long shadows across the dusty streets. Liam Harper and Olivia Bennett paused at the edge of the mission property, the heavy wooden doors looming in front of them. Every nerve in Olivia's body screamed to run, but Liam's steady presence reminded her she wasn't alone. Across the street, Sheriff Collins watched, his eyes cold and calculating. He hadn't moved, but Liam could feel the tension in his stance, the kind that promised trouble if they made a single wrong step. Liam glanced at Olivia. Her hands trembled slightly as she clutched the hidden bundle of papers. He gave her a small nod. "We get in, find the proof, and get out. Stay close to me." Olivia swallowed hard and followed him inside. The doors creaked as they pushed them open, the sound echoing through the quiet hallways of the mission. Inside, the air smelled of old wood, wax polish, and faint incense, the perfect mask for the secrets hidden within. They moved slowly, careful not to make a sound. Liam's eyes scanned every corner. Olivia's heart pounded, each step feeling heavier than the last. She remembered the long nights at the mission, the whispered warnings, the disappearing girls. This was her chance to reveal the truth, but if they were caught? In the office, Liam found the desk Olivia had described. Dust covered the surface, and a locked drawer gleamed under the sunlight streaming through the window. Olivia stepped forward, her fingers shaking, and produced a small key she had kept hidden in her coat. The lock clicked open, revealing a stack of ledgers, letters, and folded papers. Her hands trembled as she began sorting through them. This proves everything," she whispered. "Money meant for the children, for the sick, it never reached them. And there are notes, lists. Anyone who questioned it vanished or was threatened." Liam scanned the papers, his eyes narrowing. "You're right," he said. "This is enough. Enough to bring them down." Suddenly, the sound of heavy boots on the wooden floor startled them. Both froze. Liam grabbed Olivia, pulling her behind the desk. Sheriff Collins stepped inside, his coat brushing the floor, eyes scanning the room with a dangerous glint. Well, Collins said smoothly. I wondered how long it would take before you showed up here. Thought you might try to sneak in unnoticed. Liam stepped out from behind the desk, hands raised slightly but firm. We're leaving, Collins. Stay out of our way. Collins smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. I don't think so. Not today. Not with all these accusations waiting to be spread around town. Olivia's fingers tightened around the papers. We have proof, she said, her voice stronger than she expected. Everything. And we're not afraid to show it. The sheriff's smile faded slightly. Proof doesn't matter when the law is on my side, he said, reaching slowly toward his holster. Step away from that desk, Harper. Step away or I make this simple. Liam's hand hovered near his rifle. One step closer and you'll regret it, he said, voice low and steady. Don't underestimate me. Don't underestimate her. You've gone too far already. Collins' eyes flicked to Olivia, then back to Liam. For a moment, the tension hung so thick in the air it felt like it could snap. Then, a shout came from the doorway. Townspeople had started gathering outside, drawn by the commotion. Some were curious, some were afraid, but all were watching. Olivia's heart raced. This was it, the moment of truth. The moment when secrets hidden for years could be revealed. But the danger was closer than ever. Collins had one hand near his gun, eyes cold, calculating. Liam stood protectively in front of Olivia, every muscle taut with determination. Then, from the corner of the room, a figure stepped forward, Father Whitlock. His face was calm, but his eyes were icy. Children, step aside, he said smoothly. This is no place for scandal. Leave now, and no one needs to get hurt. Liam's jaw tightened. We've seen the truth, Whitlock. And the town deserves to see it too. The father's gaze sharpened. You dare defy me in my own mission? He said, voice rising. Do you understand what you risk? You could destroy everything, ruin lives. Olivia's hand trembled, but she stepped forward, holding the papers high. This is what you've done. This is what you've hidden. The town deserves to know. For a heartbeat, the room froze. Sheriff Collins' hand hovered over his holster. Whitlock's expression hardened. And outside, the murmurs of the townspeople grew louder, curiosity and fear mixing into a thick tension. Then, the sheriff made a sudden move toward his gun. Liam reacted instantly, stepping between Olivia and Collins. The papers fluttered to the floor. For a moment, everything seemed to hang in balance. A single wrong move could ignite chaos. Olivia's voice rose, trembling but strong. Stop. If you touch him, everyone will see the truth. Collins froze, eyes narrowing. Whitlock's face tightened, a flash of panic crossing his features. And in that moment, Liam knew the fight wasn't just about him or Olivia, it was about revealing a secret that had corrupted the town for far too long. Outside, the townspeople pressed closer, hearing the raised voices, seeing the tension crackle like lightning. And inside, Liam, Olivia, and the two men locked in a silent standoff. The fate of the mission, and everyone in it, balanced on the edge of a knife. The tension in the mission office was so thick it felt like it could be cut with a knife. Liam Harper's hand stayed firmly on Olivia Bennett's back, steadying her as she held the papers high. Sheriff Collins' eyes flicked between Liam and Olivia, his jaw tight, hand hovering near his holster. Father Whitlock's face was pale now, the calm demeanor replaced with a flash of panic. Olivia took a deep breath, her hands shaking, but her voice grew stronger. This is everything. The money meant for the children, for the sick, for the poor, it didn't reach them. It went to Sally's saloon, to Collins, and into your pockets, Father Whitlock. Every ledger, every letter proves it. The room went silent. Even the townspeople outside, pressed against the windows and doors, seemed to hold their breath. Collins' face darkened, his expression twisted with fury. You think you can just walk in here and accuse me? Without proof, this is nothing. Liam stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. The proof is right here, Collins. Right in her hands. The town will see it, and there's no way to hide it anymore. Whitlock's lips pressed together, and for a moment he seemed unsure, as though the walls he had built around his lies were beginning to crumble. "You don't understand," he stammered. "I did this for the mission, for the greater good." Olivia shook her head, tears spilling down her cheeks. "Greater good? You call stealing from children and hiding the truth a greater good? People trusted you. They believed in you." Liam grabbed the papers from her hands, holding them high for everyone to see. "Town of Dodge City," he shouted, voice carrying through the room, "this is what's been hidden from you. This is why children went hungry. This is why families were left in pain while others grew rich off their suffering." The murmurs outside swelled into a roar. Townspeople pushed their way through the doors, filling the room with a mix of shock, anger, and disbelief. Women clutched their children, men exchanged grim looks, and a few older faces shook in recognition as they skimmed the ledgers. An elderly woman stepped forward, her hands trembling as she read aloud from one of the papers. "Money for orphan children, sent to Sally's saloon? This can't be true." "It is true," Olivia said, her voice steady now, filled with the courage she hadn't known she had. "I saw it all. I hid these papers to survive. I ran from those who wanted to keep me quiet. But now, the truth is here." Colin's hand twitched toward his gun again, but the sudden movement was met with a chorus of gasps and voices from the townspeople. "Don't touch them," someone shouted. "You've lied for too long." Whitlock's face went pale. This is slander. But you will regret this." Liam stepped even closer, eyes locked on the priest. "The lies are already gone, Whitlock. You hid them for years. Now everyone can see. And there's no running from the truth." The sheriff's anger boiled over, but as the townspeople pressed closer, their presence acting as a shield, Collins realized he couldn't act without causing chaos. He stepped back, hands raised slightly, fury and fear battling on his face. Olivia's eyes met Liam's. "We did it. We really did it," she whispered, a mix of relief and exhaustion washing over her. "Not quite yet," Liam said, voice low. "There's still one more step." From the doorway, a young girl stepped forward, clutching a bundle of letters in her small hands. She looked up at Olivia, eyes wide. "Sister, you said you'd help us. You said the money was ours." Olivia knelt to meet her gaze. "It is yours. All of it. And now the town knows the truth. No one can take it away." The townspeople erupted into murmurs, some crying, some shouting in anger, but the overwhelming feeling was relief. For the first time in years, justice felt possible. Whitlock turned, his calm now completely gone. He backed toward the door, looking around at the angry, betrayed faces. "This isn't over," he hissed, and for the first time, the confidence in his voice faltered. Collins, realizing he was exposed too, clenched his fists. "You'll pay for this," he spat. Liam stepped forward, placing a firm hand on Olivia's shoulder. "No. You'll face the law like everyone else. And this time, the truth can't be buried." Outside, the town began to gather around the mission, the sun casting long shadows over the prairie. It was a new day for Dodge City, a day where lies had been exposed and courage had won. But even in the triumph, Liam sensed the danger wasn't completely gone. Whitlock's influence ran deep, and Colin's bitterness could spark something violent. Olivia's hands still shook as she clutched the papers. Her voice was soft but determined. "This isn't the end," she whispered. "We've won today, but tomorrow, who knows?" Liam nodded, eyes scanning the horizon. "Tomorrow, we face whatever comes. But tonight, we stand together." As the crowd of townspeople cheered and rallied around them, Liam and Olivia shared a quiet moment, a connection forged in fear, courage, and the shared desire for justice. But the prairie outside the town remained vast and silent, a reminder that secrets had wings, and not all enemies had been revealed. And in the shadows, a figure watched from a distance, barely visible, eyes cold and calculating, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The fight for truth was won, but the war for Dodge City's soul had only just begun. The sun was low over Dodge City, casting long golden streaks across the dusty streets. The chaos of the day had settled into a quiet hum, people repairing fences, tending to chores, talking in low voices about what had happened. But the air still carried a sense of something new, fragile, and powerful. Truth had won, at least for now, and the town was beginning to breathe again. Liam Harper walked beside Olivia Bennett as they stepped out of the mission. Her habit was dusty and worn, but her posture was strong, and her eyes held a light they hadn't seen in months. For the first time since fleeing, she didn't look over her shoulder. She looked ahead. "Are you sure they'll be okay?" Olivia asked quietly, her voice soft. "Found the children." "They'll manage," Liam said, his eyes scanning the horizon. "They know now. They've seen the truth. And people, they're stronger than we think." The children from the mission ran past them, laughing, carrying bundles of food and blankets. Some of them waved at Olivia, calling out her name. A lump rose in her throat. She had been afraid for so long, but seeing these children safe and smiling, it was more powerful than any fear or danger she had faced. Liam looked at her, a small smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. "You did this. You spoke the truth when it mattered most. You saved more than just the mission today." Olivia shook her head. "We did it together. I couldn't have, without you." He tipped his hat back slightly. "I've been around a long time, seen a lot of bad things. But seeing someone brave enough to stand up like you did, it reminds me there's still good worth fighting for." The town had begun to gather outside the mission, murmuring and sharing what they had learned. Some were angry, some relieved, some in shock, but all were united by a new sense of justice. People who had once feared Collins or Whitlock now spoke with confidence, helping to clean up the mess, returning stolen supplies to those in need. Even Sheriff Collins had been forced into the town's jailhouse, surrounded by men who had once bowed to him in fear. He glared from behind the bars, hands gripping the iron tightly, but the power he once had vanished. Father Whitlock was under investigation, and for the first time, he felt the cold, heavy weight of accountability. Olivia watched from the porch of the mission as townspeople carried out the stolen supplies and returned them to their rightful homes. A sense of pride and relief washed over her. She had faced unimaginable fear and danger, and yet, she had helped bring hope back to a broken town. Liam leaned against the fence post beside her, arms crossed. "You know, I've been keeping an eye on the prairie for years, waiting for trouble to show itself. I never thought trouble would come in the form of lies hidden behind a cross and a badge." Olivia laughed softly, a sound she hadn't heard herself make in a long time. "I guess some enemies hide where you least expect them." He nodded, looking out over the wide, open fields. "That's right. But you've learned something important today. Fear is only as strong as the secrets it hides. And courage is louder than any lie." The evening settled into a calm, warm glow. The children ran to the edge of the prairie, playing, shouting, and chasing each other as Liam and Olivia watched from the porch. There was no rush, no threat, only a quiet satisfaction and a sense that the world had, at least for a moment, been set right. "Do you think I'll ever go back to the mission for good?" Olivia asked, watching the last rays of the sun disappear behind the horizon. Liam looked at her, thoughtful. "I think the mission is part of you now, but so is this town. You saved both. You don't have to choose yet. Maybe the best thing is, take it one day at a time. Make your own path, and let the world follow your courage." Olivia nodded, a small smile forming. One day at a time. The prairie wind rustled the tall grasses, carrying with it a sense of freedom and hope. Liam adjusted his hat, and for the first time in years, he felt the weight of his past worries ease. They had faced danger, corruption, and fear, but now they were free to stand in the light of truth. As darkness fell, the mission glowed softly with lantern light, and the town of Dodge City slowly settled into the calm of evening. Yet, even as peace returned, there was an understanding between Liam and Olivia. The fight for justice never truly ends, but it is always worth standing up for. Olivia turned to Liam, her eyes steady. "Thank you for not letting me face it alone." He tipped his hat with a small smile. "You wouldn't have had to face it alone. I'd ride every mile beside you. And I'm not done riding yet." The prairie stretched before them, endless and open, holding promise for new beginnings. And for the first time, Olivia felt something she had almost forgotten: hope unshaken by fear, ready to carry her forward. And somewhere in the shadows, far beyond the town, there were still challenges waiting, still mysteries to uncover. But for now, the mission was safe, the town was awake, and two hearts had learned the power of courage, truth, and quiet, steadfast love. Sometimes the bravest battles are not fought with guns or fists, but with honesty, resilience, and the willingness to stand for what is right. And Liam and Olivia knew, in their hearts, that together, they could face anything. The prairie night settled in, soft and endless, carrying with it the whispered promise of new stories, new hope, and new beginnings.